Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to join us for this webinar. My name is Siwan Howardson and I'm a dairy scientist at EuroDairy. I'm delighted to bring you tonight's webinar on robust and resilient dairy systems. Our presenter tonight is Cesar Resch from Galicia. Tonight's webinar is being delivered as part of the EuroDairy network. This network includes 14 countries from Ireland to Poland and Sweden to Italy. It aims to put farmers at the centre of best practice innovations by sharing knowledge and solutions. You can find out more about EuroDairy by visiting www.eurodairy.eu. Tonight's webinar has proved very popular with 100 registrations from dairy farmers, vets, nutritionists, consultants and researchers from 13 different countries right across Europe and the world. So the plan for tonight is that Cesar will run through his presentation, which will take around 30 to 40 minutes, and then there will be time for comments and questions at the end. You will all stay muted throughout the webinar, but if anyone would like to ask a question, then please type your questions into the box on the left-hand side of your screens. I will ask Cesar your questions at the end of the presentation. We will aim to finish up within the hour. I would like to thank our digital manager, Elena, who is working behind the scenes and will endeavour to make sure that this webinar is kept running as smooth as possible. But please do bear with us if we encounter any technical difficulties, but we'll try and keep these to a minimum. So without further delay, I'm delighted to introduce our speaker for tonight. Cesar graduated in agronomy before specialising in animal production and completing a PhD focusing on the economics of dairy nutrition. Early in his career, Cesar spent 15 years working for a private company where he focused on nutrition, forage quality and economics in relation to dairy farming. Cesar is now a researcher in the dairy systems at the Food Quality Galician Institute in Galicia. Cesar's research interests focus on dairy husbandry, feed and animal performance. He has over 10 years of research experience in the field of dairy systems and economics of dairy industry in Galicia, where he focused on improving fatty acids profile of dairy cows' diet by using legumes. Cesar has previously worked on dairy farms in New Zealand and France. So without further delay, it's over to you, Cesar.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you very much to EuroDairy for giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit about a job we just finished a week ago. This is recently published on EPAgri site. So first, I would like to clarify that I'm going to express my opinion about this job we did, and I wouldn't represent at this speech to my company, which is the Galician government, or the EPAgri or EPAgri service point. Well, I started talking about how I am going to develop this little speech, and I am going to talk about three different scopes in this presentation. I'll do a short presentation about what EIPAgri service point and its commitment. Later on, I'll talk about the main changes of the focus group funded to fulfill the requirements of robust and resilient dairy system for future. And I'll finish summarizing a conclusion of this final report. Okay. This is first slide in which, what is the focus group and what is EIPAgri? Well, to encourage creation of operational groups and new research, the Commission created 5 different EIPAgri, EIP, European Innovation Partnership, which are active and healthy agency, smart city and communities, water, raw materials, and ours, which is agricultural sustainability and productivity. At this point, within the EIPAgri, DG Agri created Service Point, which is an organization to develop all these activities through different mechanisms such as focus groups, organization, meeting points, and making some publication and any other able to spread the commitments of DG Agri. Focus group final task is to give ideas about new operational groups and new research on every issue they deal with. Sorry about that. Well, sorry, I'll be back because I want to show you how the focus group work. I'll tell you that well, within the year there are several calls about people who want to participate in focus group. This focus group, this is Robust and Resilience Dairy Systems focus group, started at the end of 2016. A call was made and 20 experts were selected all through Europe. In the first meeting we met in Zagreb, November 16. We started over there with a document we call the discussion paper or starting paper. This is a starting paper document in which well, we express all the facilitators, we express which are more or less the frame of this focus group. What do we want to do? After this first meeting in Zagreb, some mini papers are ordered to be created, and these mini papers they focus in those scopes we think they are more important to tackle this robust and resilient dairy system. Once mini paper I created and through email, we review them and we discuss them in the second meeting. This was in Edinburgh, in Scotland, in April last year. After this second meeting, a final report, which is not a long report. I showed you the link before, but it's not a long report. But well, we are 25 people working and more people from another. We're 25 people working on it, and well, several opinions, and we have to concentrate a final report, which is not easy. So, as I told you before, a few days ago, last week, the final report was launched. So this is people who work as experts in this focus group. It's people from Denmark, Italy, Spain, the Netherlands, UK, Hungary, Portugal, Belgium, Ireland, Germany, France, Poland, and Finland. So as I told you, we have a quite challenging experience ahead because well, when we talk about dairy systems, it is always complex, and many times there is no 100% solutions, and we have to find a compromise between technical, social, and economical solution in all these dairy systems. So. Transparency and easy understanding about what is going on in dairy farms should be another goal for this focus group. Dairy products are mass consumers products, so to inform consumers about dairy product quality in terms of animal welfare, environmental, energy efficiency, and other systems related with sustainability will add a plus of robustness and resilience to dairy industry. Well, these are links to final report and fact sheet, and well, you can go over them, and these are the real documents. Okay, these are the main the site of the EIP Agri, and I highly recommend you to join to the course they are doing to different focus group. Go on the web page and you'll find information. Okay, so sorry. The fourth challenge, I start with the second part of the speech. The fourth challenge for us was definition of what is robustness and resilience for us. And so I gave you an example. Imagine a sailboat or yacht. Robustness will be measured as the capacity of the boat to keep on floating at any circumstances. How resilient the hull of the boat is might be a good indicator. Resilience will be measured in terms of capacity of crew, of redirect the boat. Remember the Titanic, on target after the storm as soon as possible. So if we haven't a good boat, never mind how skilled the crew is. Social demands, environmental, all this stuff are in our marine sample. Weather conditions, no wind, no rain, no mist, no storm. Everybody is able to achieve the target. But when the storm comes, only good boats and crews are able to survive and return to target as soon as possible. To highlight risk of the reproduction for next years, which is the weather forecast, and to help dairy industry to build up robust boats, cows, and to determine the best practices for crews, farmers, advisors, and scientists to overcome storms is our target at this focus group 21. So I'm like a poet. So in the first part of this focus group, we started with a concept of sustainability. Sustainability for us was this is the old concept. It was the main issue in the starting paper. This is the triangle of sustainability. I guess all you know this triangle, which is three different angles, which is the environmental, social, and economic angle. But at this time, we found that we had to include a new, well, not a new, but a different concept, which is the concept of volatility. I'm going to show you for 1 minute a video talking about this.
The Glanbia Milk Flex Fund initiative is a really important development in the financing landscape for farmers in Ireland. Its core element of the product is to provide farmers with protection against volatility in milk prices, dairy farmers with that protection. And it will enable investment by these farmers in a much more safe and secure way in the future investment, productivity and capacity of their farms.
This is a really innovative initiative because one of the biggest challenges for dairy suppliers is volatility and the management of volatility. And as an organisation, Glanbia very much recognises that the supply chain has to be sustainable for all participants. So the core of this Milk Flex Fund is that the repayments on loans that support growth from our supply base are flexible, and flexible essentially to the milk price and therefore their income. So it is a very innovative product, and the GII team of Jim, Sean.
Okay, as you watch the video, I heard at least 3 times the word volatility. Volatility, as some of our experts said, came here to stay between us. So we have to deal with this new concept, but from different points of view. I'll say that volatility we're very used to, and the video show us how to deal with volatility in economic terms. I'm sure you know this chart in which we can see how milk price was more or less flat. Well, this is a seasonal variation. We were very used to spring and winter, and but year 2007 things happen, and well, in less than 1 year we get double and middle. So this is a quite different curve we were used to. If we express here the curve of some raw materials like corn or soya, we'll see shapes like this one. When the previous years to the 2007 crisis, we found it more or less a flat price. But we have to get used as well to another volatility, which is environmental volatility. Who was concerned 10 years ago about these two concepts in slice? I mean, water utilization in California for alfalfa is double than those we use for rice. So we have to be have to take account of this stuff. And what is going on with global warming? How does this global warming affect our forage production? Who was talking about methane emissions just 15 years ago in terms of dairy cows and all this stuff? So this is very volatile as well. But if we go to social stuff, we see that this is changing as well. And this is an ad of the 40s in Spain. This is a Galician cheese factory, and this factory, it is announcing cheese because it has more calories even than meat, eggs, or fish. Well, nobody can imagine this kind of ad today in Europe. This is after the Spanish Civil War, and this was a very good ad at the moment. But nowadays, it makes no sense. This another one, which is in the 70s in Galicia as well, and it says here that milk means health, but here in the bottom says something like boiled milk without vitamins. It was like sort of was in fashion at that time. I don't remember, but that vitamins, they were not good. But well, what I want to show you with these two ads is that things change, and sometimes they change too fast, and we are not able to realize they are changing. So I'm going to start now with which is the final report. The final report, we focus how to tackle robustness and resilience in dairy systems since 3 different levels. I gathered 5 directions the experts concluded, and I say this: well, this precision livestock farming and indicators, I put them on dairy cow level. Later on, we'll talk about skill systems, which are systems in terms of dairy production, which is the farm. And the third one is, it is for me, this is key, which is social. And this is the whole industry, everything. So I remember years ago in Ireland, a teacher told me that what is dairy for me? Dairy is everything between the soil and the wrap of the butter. This is the meaning of social. Everything, the soil and the wrap of the butter. I mean, edaphology towards dairy market products. It is within the dairy system. So we have to tackle these three different scopes, and we are going to develop them. The first one is precision livestock farming, PLF and indicators. Well, whether you Google, you'll find hundreds of stuff like this one. This one here is a somatic cell counter or whatever, and this is heat, cow heat warning, and this is a calving warning as well, connected with a mobile phone. And well, one of the conclusions is that we are plenty of them. Most of the instruments already available, and they will autonomously further develop. What we need are instruments for the farmer to manage robustness and resilience. In other words, we need the right indices for the individual situation and the knowledge and skill to use these indicators in enhancing robustness and resilience at the farms. Technology is already available, and we need to learn how to use it. I'm sure that watching all these indicators, and every indicator is a figure for every farm. And I guess most of times for farmers and advisors, this is a big mess, because later on, tell me, how is my reproduction like? Give me a figure between 0 and 10. Don't tell me about all this stuff. So benchmarkers are important. This the focus group who talk about benchmarking. And well, I remember when coming from the Irish, the 500s, the 3/500 rules, which was well, it's a figure farmer has in mind, which is well, I'm rearing cows weighing 500 kgs that produce 500 kgs of solids, and I supplement them with 500 kgs of concentrate. That's a good figure, and that is what we need. Behind those 500s, there's quite a lot of job done in terms of research, in terms of innovation, but we need those figures to be able to handle a farm. Summarizing this first scope dairy. So we should identify the best practices in different systems, and we should validate robustness and resilience indicators. After validating them, we should integrate these indicators into indices, and later on we have to put indices into context. Back to Ireland, BEI index, genetic index, I guess is valid for Ireland, but not for any other countries. This is a genetic index which is gathering overall profiles in terms of reproduction and solids. This is a good one for Ireland and for the specific way to make milk and the necessities of their industry. They are doing very well, but maybe that index is not a good one for, I don't know, Portugal, for example. We're on towards the second one, which is skills and systems. At this point, I'll talk to you about a book I read when I was preparing my PhD, and it was written by a British Gordon Thorpe. And in the 90s, he wrote that making profits with dairy cows and quotas. And at the preface of this interesting book, he said that make the quota feed the farm and don't make the farm feed the quota, which is more or less breed the cow to suit the system and don't design the system around the cow. So this is what I want to express at this point. And a sentence somebody told in this experts focus group as well, it is that skill before scale, which is a good sentence. So we have to make a skill, and we're going to see some aspect we should take care of in terms of dairy husbandry. So we need a business plan for every dairy farm, which are going to include financial, cost, incomes, stress test, SWOT analysis, strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats, including. And what about succession in farm? But we don't have to forget that behind most of farms we have a family, and they want quality of life with a balance between work and leisure and culture and health. So sometimes this is a very tough challenge we have when we are advising a farm. But as I told before, things change, and we reckon new skills are required in terms of advisor and in terms of which are the skills of a farmer need. And I guess you agree that high level is not a family member. And if we talk at least South Europe or even France, 20 years ago, most of labor was a family. They were part of the family. Now most of farms they have some higher labor. So maybe we have to start to develop those called soft skills, which are skills like creating group, integrating workers or on enterprise, encouraging a good attitude and behavior. So this is, I don't want to say this is more important than to know about bypass protein or I don't know, which is the average soluble protein of silage, grass silage. I mean, but we are not skilled at this stuff. So we have to learn about this. And this includes that we need a new education adapted to these new requirements. I remember that farmers with a high level of education is probably the best guarantee of a robust and resilient dairy system. So probably these farmers at India, they are learning how to feed these cows, and maybe we need new skills. I guess you get the idea. Another point we focus at this skills and systems scope was the advisor services, and we defined them that it was really very important that they have to be independent. We are plenty of technicians, and we need them. I am not excluding them. We need them. We need post-selling services, but we need advisors. And we need advisors with a holistic point of view. I mean, we need advisors that with a whole vision of what a dairy farm is. And we don't need this guy. This is the Inspector Gadget. We don't need a guy able to do everything. This is the French MacGyver. And what we need is this one. We need teams. We need teams to fulfill all the requirements our dairy farms need. And so these are more or less, this is a summary of which are the operational groups and which are needed at this point of systems. So we need agronomic strategies, how to measure efficient utilization of resources, what is going on in terms of labor shortage, why we don't get people to work on dairy farms, and new areas for farmers and advisors have to be developed. Well, I'm going to the last point, and the last point is the most for me it was the most challenging, because this is it's a new one, and this was our bet for this focus group. When we started to work in Zagreb, Kristen Wonstnitzer, the farmer from Schleswig-Holstein land in North Germany, she said something like the society was going to give us the license to produce. And I absolutely agree with her. We have to look and to hear to society. What she is saying, what society is saying to the dairy, to the cattle, to the dairy production system. And I'm going to comment this. This is a job made for some colleagues from France, and they made a survey on the difference ONG and the association, and they asked them, what are your concerns about cattle? And they put the answers in 4 different drones, and they talk about environmental, animal welfare, health, and organization. And well, this is not surprising, but sometimes what is surprising is that some of the answers, they are a little bit empty, and we have to be able to fulfill them. So they are concerned about greenhouse gas emissions. This is the word water. This is O in French. The word water is twice here and here, which is water pollution. They are concerned about GMO-free food for dairy cows. Maybe some of them, they don't know what is the meaning of this, but they are concerned about that, which is the utilization of resources like water and land, nuisance like stinks and noises, which is the real definition of animal welfare, which are the condition of life of dairy cows. How is the relationship between humans and cattle at farm level? What about the antibiotics? What about the risk of infection of human by animal, pest, of diseases? They are concerned. This survey was made in France, but I guess it's interesting. They are concerned about the intensive system and about the geographic concentration. So I said before that well, maybe some people is not really sure about what they want of the dairy system, and I'm if you read this article, this is written for one of our experts, Mike Brady from Ireland. He's quite he wonder things, and what I want you is to reflect, to make a reflection on what we can do in these terms, and you have here where this article was written, and is animal welfare in Irish dairy really a good as we think it is? And he writes, but we will the image of a heavily encalved cow on a cold, windy January morning stand up for the discerning consumer when compared against the image of a Northern European or American dairy cow in a snug, climate-controlled shed or barn. And will the high protein levels of all grass dairy cow diets be acceptable in nutritional ideals are to be achieved for health and welfare reasons? So they are good questions. This is from the consumer ideal point of view of what dairy means. This is an ideal picture. This is taken in Moore Park in Cork, and but we have to wonder. For example, this is another one. I'm not asking for your definition. I'm asking for what is the meaning of this for people. This is the first brand of bio yogurt in Spain. Okay, we go for the next one. So you wonder, this guy is crazy, but I think I'm not. We have to talk to society, and well, I'm just going to read a couple of things. This is an all ad of the BBC International News. You were watching television, and you could see a couple of ears, like the one you have on the right. After a second, a voice in off said, "This is all you need to listen most of the radio stations. To listen to BBC International News, you need something between them." These two news you have on the right, they have 3 days difference. They were published mid-July last year, so a few months ago, in Andalusia, south of Spain. This one, the second one, was viral and trending topic. The first one wasn't. So, but we have to give society good indicators at this stuff as well, and they have to be valid, reliable, precise, and measurable. If we are not able to do this, we are just hiding something, and so we have to be clear. We have to be clear in what we say, and I reckon we have a very good and very positive and feasible stuff to show our society. For example, these colleagues from France, they published just last year, which is an ability of ruminants, which is to transform no edible protein in edible protein for humans. And if our system is based on grace, for every K of edible protein, we are able to give to society 2.3 points of edible protein. So I said I was wrong. For every K of no edible protein, we give to society 2.3 edible protein. But whether we go to an intensive based on cereal, in this case maize system, we are not fulfilling these figures. So this figure is going lower and lower, and this is a situation, potential situation. But anyway, we have animals who are not competitors in terms of physiological terms with humans, and whether we go towards these systems, I think we are going to be in trouble. And this is the number of dairy farms with at least 1,000 milk cows in the USA. I see that 50% of dairy cows in the USA, they are in herds with more than 1,000 cows. I reckon in Europe, if we go towards this race, we're going to lose. Our family farms, they're a brand, a good brand, and we have to be able to, and I think we are going to be able to create very competitive and very resilient and robust farms, but we don't need 1,000 cows to be efficient. We don't need mega farms to be efficient. We want to keep rural world alive, and we need this sort of farms to keep on this way to produce milk. This is as well thing happened here in my country, in Galicia. I reckon you heard this summer, the terrible forest fires we had in North Portugal and Galicia. More than 100 people died. This is really sad, and this is a way when cattle activity contributes to the maintenance of paddocks and preserve landscape, and we have to be able to sell this immaterial contribution of cattle to society, and we have to be able to highlight this as well. So I'm just finishing and just summarizing this last scope on society. We have to know society concerns about dairy industry. We have to be able to create measurable and credible indices of social responsibility, and as well to communicate and open doors. We are going to watch now, and just finishing, a 2 minutes video.
Com ja sabeu, la feixeda fa molts anys que van començar a fer llegums. I més coses. Grec, gelat, marmelades... Ara tot plegat s'ha fet petit. No hi cabem. Això per una empresa és un bon senyal. Hem de fer obres. Però mentrestant no podeu venir, us en volem donar un tast. Vaja, com si fos una cullerada de llagurt. Un cop enllestit us hi esperem per tornar-vos a dir benvinguts a la nova feixeda. Virtual de moment.
Okay, I'll give you, just to finish, some figures of this enterprise of year 2016. 250 workers, more than 50% with some disability, more than 40,000 visitors per year. First brands of natural yogurt in Catalonia, with more than 60 million yogurt cells sold every year. And probably this tiny Catalonian enterprise made more for our dairy industry than any marketing campaign in the last years. So I leave you with this beautiful picture I took in Piedmont, southeast of France. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Caesar. That was very interesting insight. While I'm waiting for some questions to come through, I would like to remind you that tonight's presentation has been recorded and will be available to watch back on the EuroDairy website along with other webinars for the last 2 years. So the first question we have, Caesar, is that you mentioned soft skills needed to be developed within the industry. Have you got any recommendations on how this could be best achieved?
My recommendation about soft skills. Well, what we try to present and to communicate is that nowadays is not enough with technical solutions in terms of dairy production. We are dealing with people, and maybe we are not prepared to drive a team or to know which are the skills of one worker. And so what I guess is that we need new skills at school level, for example, agricultural level, schools of agricultural. So it is good, as I said before, to know about dairy requirements, but we have new challenges ahead. and that's it.
Great, thank you. Another question that's come in is, how do we talk to society about topics that consumers would find sensitive?
Sorry, say again, because I didn't understand. How?
How would you talk to society about the issues that they might find sensitive about dairy farming or the industry?
Uh, so how I am not understanding what the meaning of the question. Try to do it in another way.
Okay, I think the question is asking, you discussed that we needed to speak more with society. How do you recommend that we do that for the topics that might be difficult?
Okay, I understand what you say now. So being clear, honest. Say I say I'm not going to say any concrete thing, but we have to be clear, to be honest, and I think we have, in general, we have no things to hide. We have a very respectable and loving dairy industry. And in the way we are doing things, I'm talking about 90%. You know, there are always exceptions, but or 99%. But to be honest and to communicate, as I said in one of the slices, open doors and don't be afraid of that. I remember once talking with British. He told me that some guy of the retailer was concerned about this intensive way to make milk, and they take this guy to the farms, and he was really shocked about what was the meaning of intensive in terms of dairy production. Nothing compared to intensive in terms of swine or any other or hens or whatever, laying hens. So I think we don't have things to hide, and we should communicate. And to be honest,
Yeah, there's some comments coming through as well saying that being transparent to the consumer and open doors, as you described. And Valerie's commented, one of the ideas we discussed was the possibility to offer skill balance or state of situation of the farmer every 5 to 10 years and the key of exchange program like this to improve his skills during the whole career.
yes, yes. Well, that's true, and I don't see any question. So yes, but like in any other profession, we have to be improving and learning, and we have to keep on learning things all our working life.
Yes. There's some other comments coming through that the farmers have to speak themselves directly and take their image into their own hands. Maybe they also have to learn other skills as well as soft skills. Just a reminder to everyone that you can type in your questions and on the left hand side of your screen. So we're just waiting just to see if there's any more questions coming in. What would be your top recommendations for farmers looking to start looking at their business plan and maybe incorporate these different ideas, Caesar?
Yes. Well, for me, at least, the most important is if to have a goal.
Yep.
I'm not going to give a technical solution. I mean, to have a plan, to know where you want to go, what you want to do. And if you have a plan, you know when you are not on target. If you don't have any plan, if you don't have any target, and you won't ever know when you are mistaken or not. So it is very, very important to planify, to have a target, uh, to have good and independent advisors. Don't hesitate about spending money in advising, always independent, and we have to pay for that. And that's more or less. I wouldn't give a recommendation, a general recommendation, because here's listening to me people from Finland to Portugal. So there is no general recommendation, but open doors, good communication, and to have a plan in our dairy farms. That's a good one.
Perfect, thank you. There's another comment from Valerie that's just come in saying, just a comment from Christine during the meetings, not only farmers must be resilient and robust, but the whole dairy chain, including the dairy industry. The link between farms and industry can vary a lot among countries. If the companies are not robust, the farms will hardly be. Have you had a lot of the dairy companies paying an interest into your work, Caesar?
If we had a dairy companies.
Yeah, have they been interested to see how your thoughts about developing a robust and resilient dairy industry?
I'm not able to answer the question. I guess they have to be resilient because I think the things are changing, and sometimes it is quite industry it is in the middle, and what is strength? I don't know. I'm not sure about whether production it is more resilient than industry. I always say that production is more structural than industry, and that's true. And it depends on how farmers organize and how they deal with industry, but and it depends as well in areas. And in the last visit we did to the UK in Scotland, we visited a couple of farmers. They were around Edinburgh, and they had an agreement with Texco, and the industry just was in the middle. So the agreement was between 30, 40 farmers and the Texco, and the industry was in the middle. So, okay, I know it's an exceptional situation, but if we are able to fulfill society requirements, we have to go all together by hand, and that's it. Okay.
Perfect, thank you. So if there are no further questions, just seeing if anyone's typing any last questions. I will bring the webinar to a close. So a big thank you to all for listening. We've had a good turnout and participation in this webinar. And please keep your eye out on EuroDairy website, which is eurodairy.eu, for future webinars. And there is one on nutrients management next Monday, 30th of April. In 2 weeks. A very special thank you to Caesar for taking time out of his busy day. And the recording of this webinar will be available to watch back on the EuroDairy website in due course. All those that have registered will receive an email alerting you when it's live on the website. So thank you all and good night.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.